You're losing your masculine vitality without realizing it. And it has nothing to do with age. If you're over 60 and feel like something has changed, that your energy isn't what it used to be, that intimacy has become a source of anxiety instead of pleasure, this video will reveal the 3 hidden patterns that are silently draining your masculinity. This isn't about medications. It's not about passive acceptance. It's about understanding how small daily habits that seem harmless are sabotaging your blood circulation, depleting your hormonal reserves, and destroying your confidence. You're literally training your body to fail, and you didn't even know it. In the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly what you're doing wrong and, more importantly, how to reverse it today. Without expensive consultations, without invasive procedures, just practical adjustments that men like you are already using to reclaim the vitality they thought was gone forever. You'll learn why rushing damages your blood vessels in ways you can't see, how unconscious tension is suffocating your own circulation, and why frequency without recovery is emptying your reserves without refilling them. If you want to feel alive again, present in your own body, and regain the confidence that seemed to have disappeared, stay until the end, because the 3rd pattern is what almost every man does without thinking. And it may be the #1 reason you're losing ground. I'm Dr. Charles Bennett, a retired urologist who spent 37 years specializing in male sexual health, particularly in men over 60. I've worked with construction foremen, ministers, mechanics, and military veterans, men who never complained, never asked for help, and carried their struggles in silence until something finally broke. And in every single case, I discovered something they never expected. The problem wasn't just physical. It was rooted in patterns they'd developed decades ago. Small daily habits that seemed completely innocent but were now quietly undermining their vitality in ways they couldn't see. Let's begin with the first pattern, one that seems completely harmless but creates silent damage every time it happens. Pattern 1. The speed trap, creating vascular chaos. I remember sitting with Bill, a 71-year-old retired firefighter, who looked across my desk with confusion in his eyes. "Doc, I don't understand. I've always been healthy. I take care of myself. But now, nothing works the way it should." What happened? We talked for over an hour, not just about symptoms, but about life, about routines, about the small moments nobody discusses. And that's when he mentioned something he thought was irrelevant, just a detail. But it wasn't. He'd been dealing with stress through a quick physical release, the same way he had for 40 years. A few minutes, usually early morning or late at night. Nothing unusual, he thought. Just a normal part of being a man. But here's what Bill didn't know, and what most men over 65 never realize. When you rush through self-stimulation, especially as you age, you're not just relieving tension. You're triggering what I call a vascular storm. Your heart rate spikes rapidly. Blood vessels in your pelvis expand and contract with sudden force. Your nervous system switches into emergency mode, flooding your body with stress hormones instead of relaxation signals. In your 30s or 40s, your circulatory system could handle that. Your arteries were flexible. Your nitric oxide production was strong. Blood vessels bounced back quickly. But after 65, everything changes. Arterial walls stiffen. Nitric oxide drops by nearly 40%. Those rapid surges of blood pressure you're creating start causing microscopic damage to the delicate vessels in the most sensitive areas. You don't feel it right away. There's no pain, no obvious warning. But over months and years, those micro-traumas accumulate. Blood flow becomes sluggish. Response time slows. Sensitivity decreases. And what once came naturally now requires conscious effort, or doesn't come at all. The physical effects spread beyond just performance. Men start noticing reduced warmth in their extremities, brain fog in the afternoon, a general sense of being disconnected from their body. They blame aging. They blame stress. But the real cause is much simpler. Their nervous system has been trained to treat intimacy like a crisis instead of a connection. When you hurry through these moments, you're sending a message to your entire body. Panic. Don't relax. Contract. Don't expand. Finish quickly. Don't savor. And your body listens. Over time, it forgets how to do anything else. Bill and I worked together for 3 months. The changes weren't dramatic or complicated. He simply learned to slow down, to breathe, to treat his body with the same patience he'd shown when teaching his grandkids to fish. And slowly, things began to shift. Not just physically, but emotionally. He felt more present, more himself. I didn't realize I'd been fighting my own body, he told me during our last visit. I thought I was just getting old. Turns out, I was just going too fast. Now, you might think slowing down solves everything. But there's another pattern working against you, one that happens without any physical movement at all. One that silently chokes off circulation, even when you're trying to do everything right. Let me show you what I mean. If you're still watching, and this is making sense, comment "listening," so I know you're engaged. What comes next might be the most important insight you hear all year. Pattern 2. The tension lock. Suffocating your own system. There's something I've observed in nearly every man over 60 who comes to me with circulation concerns. And it's not something they're aware of doing. It's automatic, invisible, but absolutely devastating. During moments of arousal or stimulation, most men unconsciously clench their entire pelvic floor. Their abdomen tightens, their jaw locks, their shoulders rise, and most critically, they hold their breath. They think it's normal because they've done it their entire lives. But it's not normal. It's strangling their circulation from the inside out. Let me explain what's happening. The male reproductive system depends entirely on smooth, unrestricted blood flow. The tissues involved are among the most oxygen-sensitive in your entire body. When blood moves freely and tissues receive proper oxygenation, everything functions properly. But when you create tension, when you clench and hold your breath, you're essentially cutting off the very supply your body needs. Think of it like trying to water a garden with a kinked hose. The pump is working. The water is there. But the flow is blocked at the source. Your heart is beating. Your blood is circulating. But the tension you're creating prevents it from reaching where it needs to go. I met George, a 68-year-old former electrical engineer, who described his experience perfectly. Dr. Bennett, it's like my body forgot how to relax. Even when I'm trying to unwind, I'm wound up tight. We spent a session just focusing on breathing. Deep, rhythmic breathing. Consciously relaxing the muscles around his pelvis, his abdomen, his jaw. He was shocked at how difficult it was. Decades of unconscious tension had created patterns his body now followed automatically. But here's what makes this particularly dangerous after 65. Your cardiovascular system is already working harder than it did in your youth. Your vessels need every advantage they can get. When you add chronic tension to an already stressed system, you're not just limiting function in one area. You're creating systemic inflammation, elevating cortisol, and teaching your nervous system to treat pleasure as a threat. The result isn't just physical dysfunction. Men experience anxiety around intimacy. They avoid situations that used to bring joy. They become distant from partners, Not because they don't care, but because they're afraid of failure. And that fear creates more tension, which creates more dysfunction, which creates more fear. It's a cycle that feeds itself. Breaking this pattern requires awareness first, then practice. George learned to notice when his body was tensing. He practiced relaxation techniques, not just during intimate moments, but throughout his day. While driving, while watching television, while falling asleep. He retrained his nervous system to understand that release doesn't require force. Within 2 months, he reported significant improvements, not just in function, but in how he felt overall. "I didn't realize how much energy I was wasting just staying tight all the time," he told me. "It's like I've been living in a cage I built myself." Your body wants to work properly. It's designed to function well even in later years, but it can't do that if you're unconsciously fighting it every step of the way. Tension is the enemy of circulation. Relaxation is the pathway back to vitality. But even if you master breathing and learn to relax, there's still another pattern that drains your system in a completely different way. One that operates on a schedule most men don't even realize they're following. Pattern 3. The depletion cycle, emptying your reserve without refilling. This is the pattern almost no one talks about, but it may be the most damaging of all, especially after 65. And it happens because men confuse routine with health, consistency with balance. I'm talking about frequency without recovery. The habit of daily release without allowing your body time to rebuild what it's depleted. Thomas was 73 when he came to see me. Retired postal worker, active in his church, still walked 3 miles every morning. By all accounts, healthy. But he was exhausted, not just tired, but depleted. His energy was low. His interest in his wife had faded. He felt numb in ways he couldn't quite explain. When we talked about his personal habits, he was honest. He'd been engaging in self-stimulation every morning for as long as he could remember, sometimes twice a day. It was just part of his routine, like brushing his teeth. He never thought twice about it. But here's what Thomas didn't understand, and what most men his age don't realize. After 65, your body doesn't recover the way it used to. Testosterone production slows. Dopamine receptors become less sensitive. The biochemical cascade that creates desire and arousal takes longer to reset. When you drain that system every single day without pause, you're not maintaining function. You're exhausting it. Your body has what I call an intimacy reservoir. It's made up of hormones, neurotransmitters, and vascular responsiveness. In your younger years, that reservoir refilled quickly. You could deplete it one day, and it would be full again the next. But after 65, refilling takes time. It requires rest, nutrition, proper circulation, and most importantly, patience. When you keep drawing from that reservoir without letting it replenish, several things happen. First, your baseline sensitivity drops. What used to feel intense now feels muted. Second, your motivation decreases. You're going through the motions without genuine desire. Third, your circulation suffers because your vessels aren't getting the recovery time they need to maintain elasticity and strength. The symptoms are subtle but profound. You might notice that arousal feels mechanical rather than emotional, that you're less interested in genuine intimacy with a partner, that you feel emotionally flat, disconnected from yourself and others. Many men describe it as feeling like they're just going through life, rather than living it. Thomas and I created a different approach. Instead of daily routine, we established a pattern of rest and renewal. 3 to 4 days between sessions, allowing his body time to rebuild its reserves. He was skeptical at first. "Won't I lose function if I don't use it regularly?" he asked. The opposite happened. Within 3 weeks, he reported feeling more alive than he had in years. His energy returned. His interest in his wife rekindled. Most importantly, when he did engage, the experience was fuller, richer, more connected. I was starving myself by trying to feed myself every day, he said. I didn't know rest was part of the recipe. Your body isn't a machine that benefits from constant use. It's a living system that requires cycles of activity and recovery. Respecting those cycles isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And it's one of the most powerful things you can do to protect your vitality in your later years. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you for your attention and your trust. What I'm about to share next is the action step, the practical pathway forward that ties everything together. If you're still with me, I need you to understand something crucial. Everything I've shared today isn't theory. It's not speculation. It's based on thousands of hours working with men just like you. Men who thought their best years were behind them, who believed decline was inevitable, who accepted loss as the price of aging. They were wrong. And if you've believed the same thing, you're wrong too. Your body is still capable of vitality. Your capacity for connection, for pleasure, for feeling fully alive in your own skin hasn't disappeared. It's been buried under patterns you didn't know were harming you. But those patterns can change. Starting today. Starting right now. Here's what that looks like in practical terms. First, if you've been rushing through intimate moments, make a conscious decision to slow down. Not by force, but by intention. Focus on sensation rather than outcome. Engage your senses. Allow yourself to be present. This single shift can begin rewiring your nervous system within days. Second, learn to breathe. I know that sounds simple, almost trivial, but chronic tension is one of the most overlooked causes of circulatory decline in older men. Practice deep, diaphragmatic breathing throughout your day. Notice when your body tightens and consciously release that tension. Your pelvic floor, your abdomen, your jaw. These areas hold more stress than you realize. Letting them relax opens the pathways your blood needs to flow freely. Third, give yourself rest. If you've been engaging daily or multiple times per day, create space between sessions. Your body needs time to restore its hormonal balance, replenish neurotransmitters, and rebuild vascular responsiveness. 3 to 4 days of rest between intimate moments allows your system to function at its peak rather than its minimum. These aren't complicated medical interventions. They don't require prescriptions or procedures. They simply require awareness and commitment. And the men who make these changes consistently report profound improvements, not just physically, but emotionally and relationally as well. I've seen 70-year-old men rebuild intimacy with wives they'd grown distant from. I've watched retired veterans rediscover confidence they thought was gone forever. I've sat with grandfathers who told me they finally feel like themselves again after years of feeling like a shadow of who they used to be. You're not broken. You're not too old. And you're not alone. There are thousands of men navigating the same struggles, asking the same questions, searching for the same answers. And the truth is simple. Your body still wants to work for you. It's just waiting for you to work with it instead of against it. Let me be direct with you. The information I've shared today can change your life, but only if you act on it. Knowledge without application is just interesting conversation. And you didn't watch this far just to be interested. You watched because something in your life needs to change. So here's my challenge to you. Make one shift today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Choose one pattern we've discussed and commit to changing it. Slow down your next intimate moment. Practice deep breathing for 5 minutes before bed. Give yourself 3 days of rest before your next release. Pick one. Start there. And pay attention to what happens. Notice how your body responds. Notice how you feel emotionally. Notice whether your energy shifts, your clarity improves, your sense of connection to yourself deepens. Because it will. I've seen it happen too many times to doubt it. You deserve to feel alive. You deserve to experience pleasure without shame or dysfunction. You deserve to show up fully in your relationships, your life, your own skin. And that future is available to you right now. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, but today, with the decision you make in this moment. This isn't just about physical function. It's about reclaiming your identity as a vital, capable, fully alive man who still has purpose, passion, and presence to offer the world. It's about looking in the mirror and recognizing yourself again. It's about feeling at home in your own body instead of like a stranger passing through. I've dedicated my career to helping men navigate these challenges with dignity, clarity, and hope. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. Because you matter. And because the years ahead of you can be filled with more vitality, more connection, and more genuine living than you've experienced in a long time. If this message has spoken to you, don't let it fade away. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because I'll continue sharing insights specifically designed for men over 65. Real information, real solutions, no shame, no judgment, just truth delivered with respect. And if you're ready to commit to change, comment "Still Capable" below. Let me know you're taking this seriously. Let me know you're choosing a different path forward. Because when you declare your intention publicly, even in a small way, you're far more likely to follow through. You're not alone in this journey. There are men all over the country, men just like you, who are making these same changes and experiencing real results. Join that community. Be part of the solution instead of accepting the problem. Remember, this powerful and transformative information does not replace professional medical consultation. If you're experiencing serious health concerns, please seek proper medical evaluation. But for the patterns we've discussed today, the changes you can make on your own, starting immediately, are both safe and effective. The next chapter of your life is unwritten. You get to decide what it contains. Will it be more of the same, more slow decline, more quiet acceptance of loss? Or will it be a turning point, the moment you decided to reclaim what you thought was gone, to feel like yourself again, to live fully instead of just existing? The choice is yours, and it starts right now. Stay strong, stay curious, and most importantly, stay committed to your own well-being. Because you're worth it. You've always been worth it, and you always will be. Thank you for trusting me with your time and attention. Now go take that first step. I'll be here when you're ready for the next one.